Hi, I'm Gabby Bernstein.
Hi, I'm Dr. Lisa.
Hi, I'm Farnoosh Tarabi.
Hi, this is Christelle Lynn, and you're listening to me on That Total Mom Sense.
I want lipsticks for everyone. Even when I was making foundations.
We've been building these direct-to-consumer media brands, and I really thought there was a space for a more storytelling, premium-led video brand for women.
Started a beauty brand out of my apartment, and now to be a Black female founder at Unilever, there's been some incredible key learnings.
Perception that motherhood softens you. Mm-hmm. It has softened me towards them.
Right.
But it has toughened me like nobody's business.
I believe parents have a superpower, our intuition. I call it our mom sense, and it applies to dads too. Hi, I'm Kanika. I love storytelling and a good interview. I began my career as a television anchor and executive producer for CNN. I am now an entrepreneur and podcaster. What am I most proud of? Being a mom of 3, including twins. Tune in wherever you listen to podcasts and on my website, KanikaChaddaGupta.com, and follow me on Instagram at Kanika Chadda Gupta. Stay strong and see you soon. The fertility industry worldwide is reportedly worth $25 billion. According to the HHS, about 9% of men and 11% of women ages 15 to 44 struggle with fertility issues. There are a few options like IVF, egg donors, which are expensive and involve various agencies. And a company called GoStork is helping to change all of this. It's essentially Tinder or Bumble for hopeful parents, where you can scroll through profiles and secure an egg donor or surrogate. With more than 20 years of experience, founder Eran Amir has worked as both a software development and product management executive at global banks, as well as startups in Israel and in New York. He founded GoStork to combine his professional skill set with a personal mission. After undergoing a long, difficult, and costly process to expand his family via surrogacy and egg donation, Eran vowed to help other intended parents avoid the complexity and confusion that he experienced. His passion led to the creation of GoStork, which proudly names Eran's almost 3-year-old daughter, Ariel, as its co-founder. Eran, welcome to What Matters Most with Maple on That's Still a Mom Sense.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about how you met your partner and, when you decided to start a family.
Yeah, so I was a single gay guy in New York trying to build my family, and I started to looking for surrogacy agencies and IVF clinics. I registered to different databases of egg donors to find an egg donor. And after a very long, exhausting journey, I found, a surrogate and an egg donor and a doctor, and I started the process. But 6 months, to answer your question, how I met my husband, 6 months into the process, I matched with my husband on Tinder, and it was like loving it, come and see me. And we had our very first date was 5 days, and we knew that we love each other and we want to be with each other. So I discovered basically like how hard it is to build your family through surrogacy and egg donation, even just IVF. GoStork is not only for surrogacy and egg donation, it's for everyone that is trying to build their family through infertility, whether you're a straight couple that is trying to conceive and you have infertility, you need an IVF clinic, maybe you need an egg donor or a surrogate to carry the pregnancy. Yeah, it was really hard to find a surrogacy agency or, IVF clinic. I didn't know anything about the process or how much it's going to cost me. And after Ariel was born, which she's actually over 4 years old now, I kind of decided I want to help out intended parents to build their family through the fertility world. And that's where the idea of GoStork came to be. Like, why don't we put all the fertility providers, all the egg donors, the surrogacy agencies, the IVF clinics, all in one place, and also create transparency to show intended parents exactly how much it's going to cost them to do surrogacy.
So can you kind of tell us how you did that?
When I was looking for an egg donor, I had to register to 7 different databases of egg donors. And it took me months and months until I found one. And the reason that it took so long is because these databases that you have to give all your information up front, they don't have a lot of egg donors. They have 50 or 100 egg donors. Not all of them you like, or some of them have medical problems and the doctor would not even approve them. And then you have to do that all over with another database and another database and another database. And that's where the idea came to do like a marketplace for egg donation. So we today have 10,000 egg donors in our database. That's how GoStork came to be. We wanted to build like the first database of egg donors that is public to everyone. It's free. And you can see all the information about the egg donors, even though they're coming from different agencies. You see the same information about each egg donor, and you can see exactly how much it's going to cost you to do egg donation. I also, in my own journey, realized that it's really hard to connect with these fertility providers. Like they don't have a chat or booking appointment system. So you fill a form, and then they call you when you're busy, when you're in middle of the meeting. So we built a chat and a booking system so you can integrate we integrated with the calendars, so you can schedule a consultation call directly on their calendar whenever you want. And you can also chat with them on the platform, schedule a consultation call with them whenever you want, and see all this transparency upfront before you even talk. Then we added surrogacy agencies. So we vetted like 55 surrogacy agencies. We made sure that they're all going to show their cost with whatever is included in the surrogacy journey. So that was the second database that we launched. And just 2 months ago, we released the third one, which is the biggest one. It's IVF clinics. So that's where everything starts, right? Not everyone egg donor a surrogacy agency, but everyone needs IVF clinic in the fertility.
That's right.
World. So we just launched the fertility clinic marketplace, where when you register to GoStork, we ask you as a patient a lot of questions about your journey and your age. And then, for example, are you going to carry the pregnancy, or you use a gestation carrier? Are you using an egg donor, or are you going to use your own eggs? And then we match you with the best clinics for your journey and your age group.
I just love this whole story because I feel very, very relatable to it, because I went through my own IVF journey and feel that I kind of unraveled very similar problems that maybe not to the same degree. My wife and I are a heterosexual couple, and we plan on having children together from the beginning. So obviously the start of your journey was very, very different, but I also was in a completely different industry, in a different field, and left the path that I was on after having a son and realizing that I wanted to dedicate my life to making life at home better and easier for families, because it's just so hard to have a career and raise a family and be the dad you want to be, and the professional that you want to be, and the mom you want to be, and the career-oriented mom that you want to be. Just like, what was that light bulb moment when you knew that you wanted to transition out of your past professional life in the finance sector and transition into reproductive care, which is obviously not historically speaking, your career orientation?
So I made some phone calls to my IVF clinic, to my egg donor agency, and to my surrogacy agency, asking them about this idea that I have. Like, I wanted to create this kayak or Expedia for fertility, where I'm going to put all the IVF clinics in one place, all the surrogacy agencies and egg donors. And I asked them, what did they think about this idea, and will they be okay to show their cost for the first time ever? So I got mixed responses. Obviously, everyone thought that this was a great idea. It's going to help a lot of patients to find doctors and the egg donors and the surrogacy agencies. But they were a little bit skeptical about putting their cost up front for the first time. They were like, are you crazy? This is our secret sauce. We don't want our competitors to see our cost formula. We don't want consumers to compare us against our competitors. That's how kind of like I started the idea, like I'm using the idea of GoStork. But I decided to leave this comfort of like secure job, because I really believe that what this idea can do to the industry, it can disrupt the industry. It can help thousands of patients. So that's where I decided to just like leave my job and take this risk and open this company, GoStork, and to build the very first fertility marketplace.
When my wife and I found out she was 31, that she was not going to be able to naturally conceive a child, basically we're told, use rounder figures here, but it was going to be like $100,000 basically to go through the whole IVF journey. And I had this disgusting realization that the only separating piece between my wife and I and another couple that might be dealing with the same difficult news or the same difficult challenges, that we had the financial means to go through IVF, and not everyone has those like hearing that you may not have a family and the only separating line is cost.
Yeah.
Because the technology is there. I'm talking about, like, let's just say perfect storm. Two relatively healthy heterosexual people, they have sperm, they have egg, and they're getting older or whatever. They need support, they need help. And the only reason they may not be able to have a kid is because they don't have the financial means to go through modern medicine. That's the next level of disruption that I hope that you find and help crack. I think that price transparency and creating a more competitive marketplace will play a role in doing that. So I hope that this is a long and beautiful road for GoStork to solve those kind of problems as well.
Yeah, we're already doing that. So like by putting a cost next to each clinic, you can see how much IVF cycle is going to cost you. And with those tools, you can sort by cost. So for the first time ever, you can sort like 100 IVF clinics, you'll see the cheapest one on the top. If that's what's important to you and you cannot afford, like another clinic, then you can find it in GoStork in 1 second. I saved on my own journey. So my second daughter that was born, I searched by cost, and in 1 second, I saved $50,000. So the difference between the second agency and the first agency was $50,000 difference.
Do you help families with fertility financing because the costs are so astronomical? Tell us about that.
So we help them in a couple of ways. First of all, just to see the cost and sort by cost is helping and making something that was not affordable. That's one way, through the product itself. Second thing, we have a financing product. So on our homepage, you can see 4 square buttons that one of them is to find a surrogacy agency, egg donor, IVF clinic, and the fourth one is financing your journey. Another questionnaire where we ask you a few questions about your employment status, your credit score, and you being pre-qualified on the spot for loans, fertility loans. So if you are pre-qualified, after you go through the questionnaire, you can see different offers from different lenders with different terms and interest rates, just a regular fertility loan. So that's great. We're helping people financing their journey.
And how do you support the LGBTQ parents specifically who are looking for surrogates?
You can see on each fertility provider whether they're LGBTQ plus friendly or not, whether they have education or support system for LGBTQ plus. So once you go to the surrogacy profiles, you see that flag, or the fertility clinics, you can see the flag. So we help them identify these fertility providers that are specialized in that. But we're also doing concierge calls. So everyone that is registering to GoStork, basically we invite them to schedule a free concierge call with our concierge team, where we educate them about the process. We ask them a lot of more questions about themselves and what's important to them. And we help them find a better match.
Can you tell us about some of the families you've helped?
Okay, the biggest story is actually when we were on our baby moon in Mexico for waiting for our second daughter to be born, that we had like a month away from our date. So we were there with our firstborn and another gay couple, and we met a very nice couple, straight couple on the beach, and we became friends. And they were thinking about adoption back then. And I told them about GoStork and surrogacy. They didn't know anything about it back then. The woman immediately loved the idea of surrogacy, and she took her iPhone. She had a margarita on one hand and an iPhone. On the other hand, she registered to GoStork. She found an egg donor through our database after 5 minutes, and she found a surrogacy agency. A week ago, she sent me pictures of her baby.
Wow. I'm just curious, how much of a role do you feel that GoStork needs to play with education, right? Even the story with the beach example, this woman didn't even think that she could maybe find a surrogate or an egg donor. And you obviously played an incredible hand in that journey of finding both of those services and then making a family come to life for her. But how much of an education curve outside of the services do you feel that you guys are responsible for playing for just general success of the business?
Education is a huge part of GoStork.
Yeah.
We have one of the biggest resources on our website, and it's free for everyone to learn about IVF, egg donation, and surrogacy. All the aspects of the journey, whether it's just the process, the one-on-one, the cost, the legal, all the aspects of your fertility journey for all kind of people, like whether they're straight or gay or single woman, single dad, we have everything there, and it's all free. On top of that, our concierge team is huge on education. That's the first thing we do when we get in front of the patients, intended parents. We educate them about the process, about the steps. I just finished, before going on the podcast with you, a concierge call with a straight couple to build their family through surrogacy and egg donation. And in that call, we educate them on the process. We actually log into their GoStork account and we help them to find an egg donor surrogacy agency. And we explain to them everything about the process, the cost, and the legal.
But looking at this map that you have under your resources of states where surrogacy is not really in favor, and you have literally avoid proceeding or take extreme caution in particular places of the country. Sorry, Roe versus Wade puts a huge spotlight on the attack of women's rights and reproductive rights, but people don't realize it's also a massive attack on fertility rights with modern science as well. And I think it's very important that people are educated, because you don't know it until you're in that situation. Your belief system may change really quickly when it's you on the other end needing support and medical help. But we need to turn all of these states very, very dark green. And as a country and as a species, we need to operate with a better sense of kindness for people who are going through this. It's very disturbing to see this.
It's very disturbing. And, people not really 100% how it's affecting surrogacy and egg donation. It's all a lot of conversations. What's the difference between fetus and the embryos? Like, where does it start? This new law. That's why when you're doing surrogacy and egg donation, it's really important to understand the legality of that. To do the surrogacy in a surrogacy-friendly state where you know that it's legal. If you need, God forbid, to do abortion, then you'll be able to do that. If your surrogate is in a state where it's now illegal, you can send her to a state where it's legal to do. So you're going to have to pay for transportation and to get her to a state where she can do the abortion. But hopefully we're not going to get there. But that's all legal implications that are not fully understand right now. How it's really going to implicate about the creation of the embryos or it's later in life.
I'm curious, as a gay man raising 2 daughters, you're building a legacy around helping people build families, and you represent a community of people that are constantly under fire and dealing with discrimination in the gay community. Now you're raising daughters who are also now dealing with a new frontier of discrimination. How do you navigate that as both an entrepreneur and a parent in teaching your children about the world at large?
They're still young to understand what's going on, but I'm obviously very protective of her and trying to understand how it's affecting our family and our community, and stay up to date with the current legality is on top of mind for all of us. And it's best if all of us going to do that. That's the only way to go right now.
Are you intentionally choosing a boy for the 3rd child? Are you going to have a whole girl lineup? Or are you just rolling the dice and taking the healthiest embryo and you don't know what you're having?
I was planning to do a boy for my 2nd child. So, IVF is very expensive, but there is one benefit in IVF that you can choose the gender of kid if you have enough embryos. So the 1st child I had, Ariel, I only had 1 embryo blasted after 5 days, and I only had 1 chance, and I got her. She was my firstborn. And my 2nd journey, I had 6 embryos, 2 boys and 4 girls. So obviously I went for the boys first.
I see.
We did the transfer that was not successful. Then we did another transfer that was not successful. And then the doctor said, let's find another surrogate. I was like, no, let's do another cycle.
Oh.
And then we got pregnant on the 3rd cycle. And then after 6 weeks, there was no heartbeat. And she miscarried. So I had to go back, find another surrogate, and so I only had girls back. So that's why my 2nd daughter is, 2nd child is a daughter. This time, we did another egg retrieval with the same egg donor, and we're using my husband's sperm. So we created another 4 embryos. 3 of them are boys and 1 girl. We matched with a surrogate, and she was medically cleared last week. So great news last week. And yes, we're going for twins.
Oh, wow.
Yay!
You got it.
I've got you. I have twins.
We're for twin boys, so we'll see.
Tell us what matters most to you.
My family. I do everything I do to protect my family, to build my family, and to make everyone in my family happy. But I also do that for other families. So I have two things that matter to me the most, which is my family, but my baby GoStork, that, we're building and helping other Indian parents to build their families. And I even have one quote for you.
Yes.
All of our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them, by Walt Disney.
Oh,
And it's directly affected to, my dream to build GoStork, my dream to build a family. If you have the courage to do that, everything can come true.
Where can our listeners find you and find GoStork?
They can find GoStork at GoStork.com. It's a free resource to everyone to register and to connect to fertility providers. And we want to help as many families as possible.
Thank you so much, Eran. This is such an enlightening chat. And, we believe so wholeheartedly in your work and think it's, such an amazing thing you're doing for helping people start their families and grow their families. Thanks for listening to this episode of That's Total Mom Sense. You can listen to the audio version wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for That's Total Mom Sense. You can learn more about my guests by logging on to www.thatstotalmomsense.com. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, where I'm most active on social media. My handle is at Kanika Chadda Gupta. And if you have ideas for show topics or guests you can't wait to have on the show, write to me at thatstotalmomsense@gmail.com. And lastly, please rate, review, and subscribe to That's Total Mom Sense if you haven't already. Thanks for being in my tribe.